Alright, now, Rastafari, got a Rasta Locks with another one. Part two to, man's mental health, but basically why a father is important to his children. This segment is about why fathers are important to their daughters. So, again, I'll be looking down this because I take notes and I reference to it, and then I try to stay on track and keep it bullet point short but respectful, but give it the respect that it deserves. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and this help get the message out. It's about us promoting to get ourselves to a better place and not ignoring the signs that we need to do to make sure we're getting better, not going backwards. So we only can do that if we move forward as a community. So again, part two to the segment of part one from fathers and sons, now fathers and daughters. And I am a father to two girls. I keep their names out of it just to keep their names out of it. I got two teenage girls before I start. So I'm mudding through the waters of learning this every day. If you don't know and you don't understand. But again, fathers to daughters. The man that she will first trust and love. Spoken from her father's soul, not a man's mouth. The daughter is the man's heart, a man's love to the young lady. The place where he holds his truth. She is the woman that is pure for him because he wants best for her. And it's only through essence he wants to see her grow in her truth, her womanhood. Even though, sorry, I'm going to try to say that again. So with love, he leads her the way. His mistakes to be pure in truth, and from the mouth, gentle with words, yet grounded in actions. I probably should have wrote that a little better, but my point is, what I mean by his mistakes has to be pure. So he's not going through life trying to just be crazy, doesn't have an avenue and just kind of going wherever and whichever way. He has to be pure in his mistakes. So when he makes a mistake, it's truly heartfelt, something that he really did not intend to do. And what I mean by pure, also in that essence, he has to tell the truth to his daughter. He has to give her truth like, hey, baby, this is what a guy looks like. Guys mess up. This is what this can be. This is what that can be. I don't intend to do this. And your future standpoint of a man, or this blueprint of a man that you see on this outline, this is what he possibly would look like. So he has to be pure with his intentions to get it across for his daughter. And with his mistakes, also be pure in his honesty with giving her response. What I mean by gentle with words, because men are usually known to think logic. We do have feelings. So let's not, reason why we understand men need man's mental health month while we are flawed, because when people hear, we think typically this logic thing, and I say logic only like this because for people who got a closed mind, they really close these boundaries to understand what that means. So it doesn't mean we don't have feelings. We don't. It's not saying we don't hurt. We feel all the same things. It just may go in a different route, or it may take longer to get there for us. You know what I mean? Because we're thinking like, hey, we got to put our feelings on hold to get to this point or that point. But when you're dealing with a girl, raising a girl, you have to, put that to a burner and understand that, because you're talking about your way of thinking and trying to analyze it and get it for her to understand, and also understand her way of thinking and internalize it for you to understand, because it's your daughter. So gentle with mouth, not being so aggressive. Maybe when you with a boy, you like, hey, you got to understand it, toughen up a little bit here and there, when it's time, like you can get there, you got to be a little more careful with the daughter, just because if you use the wrong words, if you use the wrong tone, if you use the wrong body language, you know what I'm saying, it can really destroy her self-worth in her mind, her self-esteem in her mind. And you won't be intentionally doing it for what you believe you want to do, but the way you came about doing it can hurt her in the long run. So you have to be careful with your words. And grounded in actions. What I mean by grounded in action. So you have to move sound. I made many mistakes. Be the first to tell you, I'm probably one of the most flawed people you'll ever meet. But I learned my flaws in my sleeve. And in due time, you'll start being able to see my tattoos. Every tattoo that I got tells you in a different way that I'm flawed. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect. I'm just a trying man. And I wear that on my sleeve because I understood, at least to what having daughters, I needed them to see that on my sleeve, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. I needed them to understand that even if I mess up and I slip, that I don't mean to be an intentional bad person when the world may say that I am. Excuse me, I apologize. The father is the young girl's first insight to life. So if he is flawed, he will help her carry this into her womanhood. And again, that's basically saying what I kind of just ran over, and I didn't know I was going to do that again. So if he's not careful, and he's not healed, same thing. While raising a girl, not having gentle words, he's too harsh. I remember when, honestly, my girls was first born, they were coming to this age of not being babies, but toddlers. They want to put their fingers in light sockets and stuff. And my first thing is I want to, you know what I'm saying, knit. And then their rooms ain't clean. First thing is to knit, you know what I'm saying, like this, tap them, you know what I'm saying. And then that was my answer for everything, because that's what I understood was the way to do it, because that's what the generation before me told me was the way to do it. And their mother, thank goodness, was like, no, we don't need to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's not how you have to parent. You have your own blueprint. These are our girls. You don't have to do that. And I soon understood, what? That's crazy. You telling me I can't? I don't know why that never registered in my mind that it was a broken cycle and it didn't work. Because when you look at the people out here, we all broken from different generations. It was harsh, but in some ways it was too harsh. Not crazy, you know what I'm saying, we just got crazy beat, and you know what I'm saying, we just couldn't speak. Actually, we couldn't. It was a saying kids are seen but not heard. You know what I mean? So, and to a degree, that's a good thing, but there's a bad connotation to it. So when the kids get older, you know what I'm saying, they don't know how to talk about feelings, issues, problems, financial, you know what I'm saying, things and all that, because you were just told when you're a kid you're not supposed to ask questions. You're supposed to be quiet and do what's told. And that doesn't answer no questions. So how do you move forward in that stint? You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. If the father is flawed and he doesn't know, he's going to teach her that that's the insights to a man. And also into her womanhood, that's what she is going to look for, completion of a man and of herself, when she looks for a role model and a guy for protection and provision. So this will lead her flawed forever. And I did something probably weird, because I had to let my girls know that people are flawed and it's okay to be flawed. So I remember they both probably about 5 and 7. My girls are 2 years apart, probably a little bit younger. So maybe let's say, you know what I'm saying, let's say a little bit younger. You know what I'm saying? But one day we at a park and they like, Daddy, I want to go across the monkey bar. Now I'm with their mom, you know what I'm saying? And terrific mother. Going across, they like, Daddy, take me across the monkey bars. I'm doing it, I'm holding them up. So my first one gets to the middle and I let go. And you hear them yelling, Daddy, 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 Daddy. You're going hysterical. I said, what you going to do? You going to get across? Or you going to stop? And I knew what the end result was going to be honest. Again, I was gentle with my words. They said, Daddy, I can't do it. I said, you can do anything you want to, baby. Daddy, I can't do it. Again, I knew it was going to happen. First one fell. Wah! I let them have it for a hot second. Then I said, are you okay? I've heard daddy. So you want to go home? Or do you want to go back and play? You want to go back and play? First one did it. Went back and played. Second one, I let him play for a little bit. Did the same thing. Fall, same thing. Give him the same talk. I said, do you understand that's life? And I knew they wouldn't get it. I knew they wouldn't get it. But for some reason, it felt like the right thing to do at the time. So I let them both crawl across the monkey bars, let them go. Talk to them something just a little bit, saying those extents. Like, you want to keep going or you going to give up? And I knew they was going to drop. They little. But I let them drop just to see that people are going to not just get it. You had to crawl before you walk. You had to scoot before you crawl. So life is steps. So once they understood that they was okay, they went back to playing. And next thing you know what I'm saying, they was going across the monkey bars like it was no problem. Or they wasn't scared to drop and they just kept going. You see what I'm saying? So like it taught them that it's okay to fall and be like, all right, I'm going to dust myself off and I'm going to try again. So it gives them that provision of like what life looks like, you know what I'm saying? And it's a lesson that some may say is rough, but I think was one of the perfect lessons. And I wouldn't take back to this day. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't disrespectful with my words. I talked to them. I was kind with them. And it just led them to be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? This is what life is about. So girls learn protection from their fathers without a return. So the father is, again, purity to life for her. So my job as a father to two girls is, hey, when you go outside, understand there's danger. Understand when you're inside, you got the least danger at this time because I'm your protector. So while y'all may be grounded and relaxed, I'm a little more relaxed, but I still got to be up and ready to go. Seeing the guy lock doors, you know what I'm saying, 3-4 times at night, checking the windows, you know what I'm saying, this and that, and rather, I'm like, hey, make sure, you know what I'm saying, y'all not moving crazy. Watch being on your phones when y'all walking up and down the street. Don't be so loud, you know what I'm saying? Always keep your head on the swivel. And then even when we walking, a couple times they looked at me, they're like, Daddy, why you know what I'm saying, looking the way you do? I'm like, because y'all relaxed, but I can't relax. I got to still be on the swivel because I got to make sure if something's coming this way, if I can spot it, I'm going to spot it now to make sure y'all out of there and y'all safe. And I'm going to take that hit, whatever that looks like, to make sure y'all protected. So without a return, I mean, she sees what unconditional love is from a man. Because what we're believed to be is providers and protectors. So he is the girl's first provider. It's making sure that she has her needs and some of her wants. And making sure that she's protected and also teach her how to protect herself. He's also the person who teaches her how to be independent and be interdependent. So he helps, just like the mother, teach the girl independence. How to do this and that, how to be strong. But then he also is the main person who's supposed to teach his daughter how to be interdependent. Like, hey, this is what you bring to the table. This is what he brings to the table. How do y'all intertwine and make that work and balance on each other to go forward? Because we know independence, but we don't know what interdependence is. So if we don't know what interdependence is, how can we teach it? And why? This is why we fall short. See what I'm saying? Oh, wow, again. He teaches her what it takes to be a man through mistakes, truths, and tries to get better with his teachings. He also teaches her what to bring to a table and what to bring to a table while being interdependent. I'm sorry, y'all, that's funny. Pardon the body. Without a father, a girl looks to falsehood for womanhood and manhood and stability. And understand the mother has a part in this. We're just speaking on the man. So this is not saying that the mother is not accountable. The mother is just as accountable. But again, this is stay on topic. I'm going to say it again because people need to know. What I mean by that is if she doesn't have a man to look up to, she's looking up to what you see is what most kids look up to a man. What they say is the super thug or what's in. So in most occasions, a guy who just happened to seem to be the loudest dude in the room, the biggest dude talking the most stuff, who basically got the rah-rah or the shiniest clothes, because that false sense of reality is her security, because he's selling, maybe in some cases, a lot of cases, these wolf tickets for her, and it's making her have a false sense of security. When in terms, in a lot of ways, he'll create more problems for her, because he's jumping at the wrong times and creating more problems. Compared to he like, all right, let's think checkers, not chess. We gonna do this because we got to think of this step, this step, this step, this step, and this step. So I'm gonna make sure we're maneuvering in my part to make it safe, while also listening to you, so we can keep maneuvering in this lanes to make sure we're safe and get into the next step with that interdependence. So without the father, she looks to boys thinking they're men, which gives her a false sense of manhood and a false sense of womanhood. Because now, see, if he's not there, the mother is also taking lanes that she shouldn't take to try to raise a girl, and try to raise a girl to what to expect from a man, while trying to give what is expected from a woman to a man. So again, both parents have to be together in this. Even if they ain't together, they have to be together in raising that child. It is a unit, and it is a village. And again, I guess I'm getting a little better with talking. So she'll either put her walls up in times of if she doesn't have a father figure raising her, and when she sees a guy coming to her, let's say we're saying good guys and good girls. So let's say the girl grow up good, and she's kind of got her head best as she can on her shoulders, but because a man didn't help raise her and show her the way, now this guy is coming in trying, not perfect, but trying to figure it out, and he's like, this step maybe, that step maybe. But if he is opinionated, it can lead to her putting up walls like, hey, you're trying to control the situation, and I don't like nothing like that, because my mother had to take control of everything, because this father wasn't here to show the routes on how to be interdependent with a man and lead me across these waters and watch me do these steps and everything. So it leads to that. Or her walls will be too far down, and again, it goes to that first point where she just goes to that false sense of what a man is, and she goes down the route of possibly a guy being abusive, beating her self-esteem. She thinks she got to deal with it. Drugs, same thing that all boys lead to, but it just leads to it can lead to a big, big dark hole for her. So a father is important for a daughter. I won't say my daughter's names, but I do. And your daughters will open the womb to you of teaching you how to feel, and letting you know if you're doing right, that it's okay to feel. And I mean that in the extent of, I had one of my daughters have one of their heartbreaks, and I got teens, so my kids are still kids, teen young ladies, you know what I mean? And at this stage, they in elementary school, so my kids ain't allowed to have, at that time. Now, think somebody that liked somebody, you ain't supposed to have boyfriends, none of that. But that doesn't stop that they may like somebody and think somebody may like them. They still want to go through the feelings no matter what you think. So you got to support them and talk them through it. And one of my kids was like, they come home one day and they just wasn't themselves. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, really, they elementary school again. So I'm used to them climbing all over me in a sense. And this way before I cut my hair. I've been growing my hair for 11 years. So my hair was, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, it was about a little longer than this, but before I cut it, was down to my waist. Another story. But she come home and she just wasn't herself. I go to the room like, babe, what's going on with you? You ain't jumping, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a father who going in your room and being nosy. I'm picking on y'all. You on your friend phone with your friends. I'm kissing you 20 times a day. You know what I'm saying? I'm that father. But she ain't talking. And next thing I know, I just start looking at her. I'm like, you need to talk to me about anything. And she said, he hurt me. Who hurt you, baby? You got to talk to me. So, like, he never loved me. And again, our kids can't have boyfriends, but you can't disembark their feelings. So to her, it hurt. You know what I'm saying? And this little dude gave some candy to somebody else, blah, blah, blah. And she just bawling. Instantly I bawl. And I grab her tight as I can. You know what I'm saying? So like, while she crying, I didn't think it was going to hurt me. Because I'm like, this ain't even puppy love. But to see that it hurt her heart, hurt my heart. So next thing you know, I'm crying. With her, probably even more than she is. Because I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, this can do this to me. So it taught me also the value in words, being gracious with how I speak, gentle, grounded in my action, which is holding her tight, letting her bawl, have her moment, then I tell her it's okay. And I'm give her that lesson talk after she has that moment of feeling. And then let her know I'm just here for it, and you're going to get through it. And if I say something to her now, she's going to be like, yeah, daddy, whatever. But to me, if I revisit it, you know what I'm saying, because I seen it hurt her, it's going to forever be a moment that can really bother me. To her, just whatever. But because I seen it in my daughter, it's a pure moment to me, like that ripped something in me. There'll never be fixed per se in that way. It's always going to be a moment that scarred me. You know what I mean? And then my other daughter had a moment. Again, I got 2 girls. Again, I'm trying to be careful with these moments because my kids are kids. I had a moment in the car, and the situation was real crazy. I pick her up, and same thing, she bawling. And for a minute, I'm like, okay, we're going to get you to the house, then we can talk about it. But I felt off her energy so bad, I had to pull off and pull into this parking lot somewhere, you know what I'm saying? And I just stopped the car, went to her side, which is where I'm at right now, ironically. And I just gave her a hug, just told her it's okay. Same thing. And I'm bawling too. I'm like, God dang, these girls can do this to you. I'm trying not to cry because you understand if you got girls. So these girls can do this to you. And that extent made it be understood where you have to be careful with everything that you do. And you have to be gracious and that she needs you. It's harder for me to say what it's like to be their daughter. I would have to have my kids be here. So that's a harder extent. So if you're looking for that, unfortunately, I can't give you that in purity. I can give you my opinion on what I think is important for it, but I can't give you the feeling on which my kids will possibly hope to understand what's the importance of having me around. Woo. Oh, well, see, again, I learned how to feel, and that it was also needed for me to cry. You know what I'm saying? I'll be the first to tell you I'll cry in a minute. You know what I'm saying? But if you test me in the wrong way, you see that doesn't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a tough guy. I'm not none of that. I am a man of all extents. You know what I'm saying? And I don't play around about nothing. You know what I'm saying? I got values, morals, and I don't play about none of them. And I don't play about my spirituality, which is Rastafarian, I. And I don't care about the whole entertaining the circus or nothing. And I say that to mean for those who think because a man cries, he's soft. You need to get your mind together, and I say do some spiritual searching, which this is for. A girl will make a man live better, understanding that he has a role that is needed. Compared to just keep playing games as a boy, you want to turn up, party, do what you want to. So if you're going to be really in this girl's life, you're going to do it, but you're going to figure out how to stop it soon if that's what you're doing. You're going to figure out how to correct it to make sure you are there for your girls, no matter what that extent is. So you'll come in like, all right, I got it together, and then you'll figure out soon you ain't got it. So you like, hold up, and you grabbing all the pieces, trying to make sure you raising these girls. And then you like, all right, I got this piece, I'm get this piece. And you trying to kind of glue it together and figure it out. And then you kind of have it, and then sometimes it drops. And you know you got to pick it up. But you're more careful in which how you put the pieces together. And you're more thoughtful with how you decide to move. My girls keep me grounded. I will say my girls keep me grounded. Because, as we know, sometimes all men, you know what I'm saying, we have them moments where we like, life's tough. We're told that we're just supposed to do these things like man up. Feelings ain't appreciative with society of men. You're supposed to pay bills, be quiet, and keep moving. And we seen what that leads to. You know what I'm saying? It's been many brothers who did the unfortunate with themselves. And we got to stop that. So my girls keep me grounded from that. When I'm feeling like that dark whisper is coming into my head, it's like another provision to be like, if nothing else is keeping me here, I have to stay here for them. Because I deserve to watch them walk across the stage. I want to walk them down the aisle when they decide to get married, if so. I want to see them graduate and go to college if they decide to do that. I need to be that person if they need something fixed in their house because I'm okay with my hands. I want to be one of them people that they call until John says I'm either unable physically or mentally, or if I get called. You know what I'm saying? Until that day, I'm going to give all I can to my daughters so my daughters keep me grounded. For that sake, they sacred to me in purity. And if he doesn't, this is why the daughter has to see her father in purity. He has to be willing to be like, baby, daddy messed up. This is how daddy messed up. And this is how daddy needs to correct it. He also has to let the daughter come to him, long as he's not using cuss words, long as he's staying in what I say. I will say a child's place. What I mean by that is not acting grown, but learning how to decipher her vocabulary, where it's like we're having a young adult talk, like, hey, daddy, these are the issues that I'm feeling, and I'm worried in this way or that way, and what can we do? You know what I'm saying? My daughters have done that. You know what I'm saying? The little things. And like with me, trying to be mature and learn my maturity in those ways, I think we got a decent relationship. I will always hope for it to be better because it always can need improvement. But I'm blessed to have it. So you definitely need to be a father to your daughters. In closing, it sounds like I'm sorry, I didn't even mean to do that. In closing. Fathers, I call to y'all. Be in your son's lives. Be in your daughter's lives. Be great spouses. And if you ain't spouses, be great co-parenting spouses. No matter what. You have to do that. On your end, the best that you can. Because these kids are the future, so we have to fight the grit and take the bullet, so to speak, for that. Ain't that what great leaders used to do? But now we don't got the great leaders. We don't know what that blueprint looks like. Because in these small sections, we are that great leader. So we have to think. We have to be knowledgeable, intelligent, educated, move with, you know what I'm saying, with intent. This is how we get better. It takes a village to raise these children. So let's bring back the village. I need my brothers, excuse me, I hold everybody I say that's a brother or close to me accountable for my kids. In a sense, they don't need to buy them nothing. And my siblings are accountable for my kids. I'm accountable for their kids. And again, we don't need them to be brought nothing from anybody else. But if you see my kid doing something wrong, you handle that. Pull them out of the situation, and you call me. That's how it's supposed to be. Because that's how we did the village. We need the big mamas. We need the big daddies. We got to get to that, and we can get to that. But we got to quit this foolishness on can't nobody talk to your child no more. When we get there, we'll start bridging the gap, and then we can agree to disagree and learn how to bridge those gaps in between. Long as we understand we have to get back to the old way of it takes a village to raise a child. And then we got it. It's part 3 coming soon. And part 3, I will tell y'all, is why a son needs his mother. So if you understand now, I hit son to fathers, fathers to daughters. Only thing left is why boys need their mothers. And I can try to see why, well, that is it. We'll see what that one is, and I'll try to throw that one out after this week, by the time this come out. I'm trying to release every week, see what to come up with. And then I got some ideas after that. You know what I'm saying? Rastafarian. I'm gonna give you a little more insight to that. How I was raised, like this states wise, you know what I'm saying, and raised in a certain way, and then how Rastafarian helped my sight seeing. Anyway, thank y'all for listening. Like, share, please subscribe, please share. You never know who's gonna need the message. If nothing else, talk about it with somebody. Ghetto Rastafari locks. We out. One love. Peace. I and I.